Look at the hyacinths on that. The aquatic weed growth is outstanding. So much so, we need to take some out. And maybe some alligator weed as well. But it looks super healthy, so that's my job for today. Toon's nipping into town, get the animal food, and the goats are off in the distance doing what they're good at. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel in Thailand with Toon and Lee on the farm. And today I'm going to be stocking our 3 other fish ponds with all the hyacinth and other stuff out of the Baduk pond, which is the catfish pond. The main one that I want to stock more heavily with aquatic plants is this one, which is where the crayfish are going to go. For some reason the hyacinth isn't growing quite as rapid. I can only put it down to being less fish in here, and that means less food for the hyacinth to eat. But what we do have as a problem are big birds that come down and steal the snails, and I'm pretty sure they will have crayfish as well. So we need to get this much more covered, give the crayfish a lot of safety, because it is so clear. Let me just nip down the step here. Well, there's the proof. That looks pretty fresh, and it's very clear water at the moment, so we need to get the surface area covered up. I might put a little bit of manure in here as well, get the algae, try and get an algae bloom in here before we put the crays in. So that's my job today. I also put some in the other 2 ponds as well. Let's get busy, Lee. Wow, you can see about 3 foot down. Super clear. Only about another 1,000 netfuls to go. You see, as soon as you start dipping the net in there, all the catfish come up trying to get the bugs that you disturb. That's not working very well. Somewhere down there is an old ledge that I used to sit on or stand on. That's better. I quite often get a catfish in the net doing this. That's a good netful. Ah, that'll be from the one that got away then. That's good for short on floats. The second lot in. Some of you that are eagle-eyed, and I know quite a few of you are on our videos, you'll notice that our rosette water lettuce, aka our green gold, bail out. It's disappeared, and the reason being, since we no longer give these catfish hardly any pellet, they acquired a taste for it, and they've ate the whole lot. So before it all disappeared, we took quite a bit out, and we've put it in our little drainage canal, and also in our well, and it's blossomed there. So we'll be able to restock it various other places on the farm. But for now, we can no longer put it back in here, which is a shame. But the hyacinth, you get a lot more weight per square metre of this stuff. Obviously, because there's a lot more vegetation growing above the waterline, and also with the root systems below the waterline as well. So you get a lot more bang for your buck with hyacinth, and it's also easier to drag out by hand, and that's the idea when we stock up our drainage canal, so it's absolutely full with this stuff. We can just drag it out by the handful and throw it in the wheelbarrow, whereas green gold you really need to use a net every time. So that's the idea. Right, let's carry on, Lee. You see there's a huge mountain growing of it there. That is super tall. I know there's a few of you guys that watch our channel that have got hyacinth in your fish ponds, you use them to supplement the feed of the ducks, and also there's a few of you that use it as a mulch, and you can also add it to compost, and it's really good. Long term we'd like to be able to do that, and I can't see why we wouldn't be able to. It's just at the moment we need it all in all the ponds, and then once they're all full we can then start using it elsewhere on the farm, like I say, for mulching and for adding to the compost. Brilliant stuff, rich in nutrients as well, good for the soil, good for the animals. The goats even like this. They walk past the outside crayfish tank, and these hyacinth are quite tall there, and they have a few bites of the leaves. They like them, they're really crispy, like a banana leaf. Right, let's get this lot out then. Net number 3, quite heavy this one. It looks a lot when you're taking it out and you've got a full net, but these ponds don't look particularly big, but you do need a hell of a lot. Once it gets going though, they multiply very quickly. Good stuff. We've mainly been using this alligator weed for mulching. It's been very good. Towards the back end of the dry season, you may remember I took loads and loads out, and certainly around the coconut trees, our macam, which are our tamarins, and our banana trees, we put it was about 2 foot deep. That's all rotted down and broken down into the soil now, and you'd hardly ever know it was there before. So that's another job that needs taken back by about half. All good free mulch and fertiliser, and help us to create much needed soil. It's a nice little shaded corner, this is. Although it's still quite early in the day, that sun's quite fierce today. Still no rain for, well, getting on for 2 weeks now. I hope that's not the end of the rain season. All the water levels are full on the land. Not the same on the other farms. Some of them have already started pumping water already. Our new improved water catchment management seems to be reaping dividends already. Let's get a bit more in there, Lee. Strong boy, you can lift more than that. Oh, I've got a catfish. Bugger. Only a tiddler. You bugger. Right down the bottom. See, that was me being greedy, getting another. Let's take him up the top. I'm being greedy there. Getting some more hyacinth. Oh, it's a baby one. They have been breeding in the pond. A lot that we get out to eat are pregnant, and you do see them spawning from time to time. And of course, with a lot of weed there, there's plenty of places for them to hide. So that's one of our own. You can see they eat a lot of weed. The actual root of the weed is coming out in their shit there. Catfish eat absolutely everything. They're not just carnivorous. Let's make sure we get a good close-up of him. The only problem with head camera is you can't actually see what you're recording. Amazing creatures. White underneath, and it's sort of like a definite line between the underside belly and the darker bit on top. Fascinating fish, and tasty, of course. Catch and release. I'm not sure if that's 4 or 5 netfuls from this corner bit, but you can see it's although you can see where I've been, just the tip of the iceberg. You think how many net falls for all this lot? Be here all bloody week. But anyway, let's carry on, Lee. Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? I think it took a week, didn't it? No more catfish, Lee. Come on. It's a good job. Healthy hyacinth is quite crispy. They break off very, very easily. Nice one. Let's go for a Jan Zalesny shot. Outstanding. You see the goats have been round here, just chewing the ends off. They love this weed. Me, not so much. Let's have a little break, geezer. I'm trying not to charge around on the farm and push myself too much these days. Now it's getting hotter again. Just taking your foot off the accelerator pedal a bit more is you tend to stop and enjoy your surroundings, and you hear a saying by a lot of people that seem to have miraculously found the secret of life is you've got to enjoy the journey, and that's what I'm trying to do. Toon's always been like that, although she does work hard, you know that. She's never pushing herself to the limit where you don't enjoy it. Whereas previously, I've always been flat out type of person, and beat myself up if you don't finish something in the allotted time that you gave yourself to complete a task. Change now though. No longer beat myself up if something takes longer than anticipated. I'm pretty sure the camera won't pick this up, but what's happening, you got a lot of dragonflies round about this sort of height, and then above them, up here, there's a load of small birds that I suppose I could only describe as similar to our swallows back in the UK. Incredibly fast gliding birds. I'm not sure whether they're picking off the dragonflies that get a little bit high, or whether they're chasing the same bugs that the dragonflies are chasing. But quite a lot of aerial activity. It's like the Battle of Britain, but more natural. What a beautiful day, eh? You can hear a tractor in the background. I think they're preparing another rice paddy. Can't smell any chemicals being sprayed or see anyone spraying, so that's nice today. All is good, apart from I just saw a poxy crow in there. That'll be upcoming soon. We will be raging war against the crows again. The numbers are just ridiculous at the moment, so I might have to put a warning or two on the videos there, if we can bloody catch them, that is. But yeah, crow scaring is not very effective for very long. Goats are happy, they're still munching behind the banana trees, or banana plants rather. Happy goats, happy farm, happy Lee. There is actually a story linked to the hyacinth that I'm taking out now, and this actually originates from a place that Toon and I used to go fishing many moons ago when we had a car, and it was a place called Tamakur. It's a really big river, at about 45-50 minutes drive from where we are now. And when we used to bring the fish back in like huge ice bucket containers, cool boxes, we always used to go and grab a few hyacinth out the river there, because it always looked really good. So the original stock we kept in our village fish ponds. Well, there were fish tanks at the back of the house, all block and cement fish tanks, and they flourished obviously because you got so much fish poo in a fish tank, because you stock quite you stock quite heavily, and it helped with the filtration there. But it gradually started to take over the pond. It was populating that quickly, so we started dragging it out and bringing it down here. But it was before we had these 4 fish ponds created. So we used to put it in the fence pond where the ducks and geese are, and again it overpopulated that, but by the time we had too many in there, we had these ponds dug, so we started transferring it into here, and then, which was good, a bit lucky really, because once we put the ducks and geese in there, they ate it all. So just a nice little story that our hyacinth have been with us for, I don't know, about 2.5, 3 years now, and that's where they originated from. For those of you that like fishing the rivers of Thailand, and there's not many fish, or rather there's not many rivers that are holding a decent amount of good sized fish, if you're anywhere near our area, Tama Khur comes from one of the local dams, and it's the River Ping, and it is a fast, big river. If you're in the UK, imagine the River Trent, but 3 times, 4 times the size of that, and 2 or 3 times the speed of that. You need a massive amount of lead on your swim feeder to hold the bottom, but you get some incredible fish there that get let out of the dam. Unfortunately, without having a vehicle these days, it's a bit too far for us to go on our motorbike, and even if we did, transporting the fish back is just quite difficult. We used to come back with about 50-60 kg of fish sometimes. It was just crazy fishing. Unfortunately, it was at the time when our video camera had packed up, so we never ever recorded any down there, which is a big shame, because it was exciting fishing. Used to catch all sorts. Hey ho, maybe one day again in the future we'll get there. Just gonna pop our pump on. So running from this fairly small solar system, we've got a submersible pump in the lake way over there, and we pump it out and it tops up an area down there where we let the ducks out. We like to keep that submerged, and it helps hold the weeds back, and the ducks and the geese like to eat in there as well, find the bugs and rootle around in the roots. But we've teed it off, so the other side goes all the way over yonder, and that's our irrigation drip system around the bamboo. So that'll be watering about 20 bamboo at the moment, and then I'll go and flick a valve over later. We like to keep it as moist as possible, and it's paying off dividends. The bamboo has come back strong, and it's growing very well now. So we'll leave that on for about 3 hours or so. When our solar numbers here drop to about 24%, 15%, which is at 24, when you turn it off, it will jump back up to about there. Before I turn this off, it was on 27, so you know it's just absolutely full. It says 100% at 25.4, but normally once it's been turned, we turn the actual inverter off, and that helps charge your batteries up even quicker. So there's a good little tip for people that are new to solar. If you know you're not going to be using any power, it still charges, depending on how you wired it up of course, it still charges your batteries with your inverter off. The story behind our alligator weed over there with all the little pretty white flowers is a little bit different, but again, it's all sourced from the wild for free. It's a little pond next door to our farm where Toon and I have done a few videos collecting freshwater clams and snails and some fish, and when we were in there, they had a load of morning glory that we saw fish pecking to death, but growing alongside the morning glory was the alligator weed, which we hadn't seen before around here. And back then, everything that we were putting in our ponds, the fish and the ducks and everything, were just destroying it really quickly. So it was a constant job almost of restocking with aquatic plants. So we grabbed hold of that, thinking that, well, if the fish don't eat it and it grows well, it'll become a good mulch and also help to improve the water quality. Those of you that watch us, or have been watching us for a while, water quality in our ponds, we're just overjoyed with. So for a little bit of extra effort collecting plants in the wild and transferring them, it didn't take very long at all, and then just being patient for them to grow and multiply, then once you've got enough stock, that's it, you can just keep splitting them up. Yay, Jan Zalesny. So it's just taking advantage of what nature's already providing us. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure this would just be a muddy pond. It's not a bad job, is it, eh? Certainly more interesting than teaching confined spaces and working at heights, I know that. What did you do today, Lee? Well, I lifted about 50 nets of hyacinth out of a pond and threw them in some other ponds. Sounds boring, but it'll do me, I'll tell you guys. The last aquatic plant that we've got, there's not really a story behind that, is the Pak Bung, aka the Morning Glory. And it's always been here on this land, because where the lake is, and stretching even further than that, it's all wetland. And that's what the Morning Glory likes. It likes to be in constantly wet soil, and it'll even grow on the surface of water as well. There's always been an abundance of it here. We did actually throw it into certain areas where we wanted for it to take hold around the ponds, and it's done so very nicely. It's also quite a good ground cover. It doesn't strangulate anything that you grow in. It does die back a little bit in the dry season, so you're getting a living mulch, really. Very, very happy with the Pak Bung, and it's good to eat as well. The goats love it. It's probably their favourite. It even surpasses their gatin, which we sometimes collect for them. But even my favourite little goat Hoover, she can't even keep up with it on the land, and she inhales it. She'll grab hold of one piece about 3 foot long and just destroy it like a piece of spaghetti in one go. But yeah, there's too many rye of Morning Glory for the goats ever to catch up with that. Maybe in the dry season, when the growth slows down a bit of the Pak Bung, then they may gain a little bit of ground back on it. But as soon as the rains come again, you only need a couple of days of rain, and it springs back into life. Brilliant stuff. I think that'll probably do it for now. I'm going to carry on doing this, but I'm going to turn the camera off and focus. Lee's going to give this maximum effort, and then I'll record a little bit later on when I give up, when I can't lift the net anymore. I have no idea how many nets I've done already. Not many, but I can only count to 7. Jan Zalesny. Oh, he's got the record. And in homage to Great Britain's sexiest ever female athlete, this one's for you, girl. Fatima Whitbread. What a hottie. Isn't that a lovely sight, eh? Oi, get off me coconuts. Here come the last 2 stragglers, PJ and Blackjack. I don't know where they're off. They look like they're on a mission. I have to keep my eye on them because they do like a banana leaves or 3. Yo-yo. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Hey! Because you've only got 50 rye weeds to eat. The 2 words goat curry mean anything to you? Huh? You behave yourself. That's right. Oi, Blackie! I need to push these away from the bananas. Oi! Oi! These two are alright, they eat the weeds around the bananas. The big girls seem to like noshing on the banana leaves. Tumnus, sort out your harem, mate. Hey! That's right. You'll be bloody catfish food if you don't sort yourselves out. I want all this cleared before you go back. Lucky. Lucky. Hey. Yo yo. Hey.